Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Skeeter Racing YouTube channel. Today we're going to be tackling a very messy job, and that is cleaning out the undercoating from underneath the wheel wells. Now, messy could even be an understatement. Now I went ahead and already did a test spot on the car, and the material, whenever you're grinding it off, doesn't just create a cloud, it is such a fine dust. It even went through my shirt. Whenever I took my shirt off to take a shower afterwards, it was actually all over me. So that powder became so fine, it even went through all the fibers and stuff that were in my shirt that I was wearing. So to say messy, really an understatement. If you watch this channel very much, you know that my critters love to be in the shop with me. For example, Skeeter, which is what the YouTube channel is named after, she's right here. She's right here at my feet sniffing around. There's Daisy, our other dog. And so far my cat hasn't made it out here yet, probably just because she doesn't know the garage door is open right now. But I've got to make sure that these animals are inside and not in the shop for this, because I don't want them to breathe this in. It's probably not good for them, and I just don't want them to get all nasty and dirty. So I'm gonna go ahead and put them up, and then I need to do some rearranging in the shop, and I have a couple ideas of maybe how I can cut down on the powder and the mess that this is gonna make. I don't know if it's gonna work, but at least I'm gonna try. Let's get started. First thing we gotta do is make sure all the pups are inside. Bye, Skeeter. So here's my idea. I don't know if it's gonna work, but I plan on taking this fan here. I'm going to open this door and put the fan in the doorway, turn it on full blast so that it will hopefully suck out a lot of that dust that's coming and floating around in the air. It'll get sucked outside. And also, I'm gonna be running my shop vac right next to my grinder, so that as I'm grinding, hopefully the shop vac will catch a lot of it, and then hopefully this will catch a lot of the dust in the air, and hopefully not create as much of a mess. I know it's still gonna be a mess, but hopefully just not as big of a mess as it was last time. So I had the full intention of filming all of this process, but the one GoPro that I have that's kind of an old one, it's actually an off-brand GoPro, it has decided to give up on me. That was the only one that I really have that I was okay with putting in the garage and getting super dirty like I knew it was going to. Now I'm sure you can tell there's a difference in the video quality from this video and the past ones. Over Christmas, my wife has helped me upgrade my equipment. So now I'm running on a GoPro Hero 7, and also I was able to get a new iPhone, and so I'm actually using my old iPhone set to 4K to film all these videos now. So hopefully all of my video quality will get a lot better. Now I'll tell you my process on how I got the undercoating off, and it's a really simple process. Now I was told a lot of different information on how to remove the undercoating, or removing undercoating in general. I was told a flap disc won't work, that a grinding wheel won't work, that pretty much I had to use a heat gun and a scraper because of how gummy it was. Well, that was not the case on my car. I tried the heat gun and the scraper, and really it wasn't scraping off like they were describing, and so I decided, let me go ahead, just put a wire wheel on my grinder and try a spot. And it immediately just wiped it off pretty much. As soon as I touched the grinder to it, it just wiped it right off. It took all the material off down to the metal, And that's when I decided, okay, obviously there's different types of undercoatings. There is a rubberized undercoating, and then this appears to be just a normal undercoating, not a rubberized one. Don't quote me on that, I don't know. But that's just from my experience, that's what it looks like. And I just used a simple wire wheel, just like this, and a grinder. Now this did take me probably 6 hours to do the 2 wheel wells from start to finish. I did run across a couple of rust spots that were hiding underneath the undercoating, and so I really spent my time on those and got them all descaled and got them down to fresh metal. But other than that, I couldn't be happier. It was a super easy process, really just a simple metal wire brush or wire wheel on a grinder, and lots of time, lots of patience, and lots of cleanup afterwards. But that's done, it's out of the way, and I'm super excited for that. So again, I'm sorry that I didn't really show you the process of how I did it. Really, there was nothing to it. Anybody could do this. You just put a wire wheel on a grinder and you just go to town. I like to start from the top and work my way down, and yeah, there's really no method to the madness. It's really just grinding it all off, and it just falls right off. It's pretty easy. In the thicker spots, you have to kind of take your time and kind of move slower with it. But besides that, I'm telling you, if you've got a wire wheel and you've got a grinder, trust me, you'll figure it out once you get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here is I'm going to wipe down the whole entire engine bay and the wheel wells with lacquer thinner. Now, Pour 15 suggests to use their degreaser that they sell. Really, it's just cleaning the surface. I have a bunch of lacquer thinner already, so I'm going to use lacquer thinner. That's going to get any oils, any grime and stuff off the surface of the metal. Then I can go ahead and start applying the metal prep. Go ahead and apply the metal prep. So it says for bare or raw metal to let this sit on there for 10 to 20 minutes, and that's with the temperature being around 70 degrees Fahrenheit. It is very cold here. I do have a heater on right now, so it's probably maybe 50 in here, so I will let it sit just a little bit longer. Most of this is bare and clean metal, so about 30 minutes should do. It does say it will dissolve rust though, and to dissolve rust it says to sit on there for 30 minutes or longer depending on how bad it is. I've used this before and you can actually watch it kind of somewhat melt away that rust, but we really went ahead and cleaned up almost all the rust off of this thing. If there's rust on it, it was just in a spot that was kind of awkward to get to, and I knew that this would get it anyways. So with that being said, let's get started. Now the instructions say once you have applied this, let it set to 10-15 minutes to then remove it by thoroughly rinsing it off. Now, like I said earlier, it is very cold here. It's like 19 degrees. So, bringing a hose from outside in here, washing it off, not really gonna happen. So what I'm gonna do is I got a bucket of warm water, and I am going to use mini rags and dip them in that warm water and attempt to wash it off that way. Hopefully that is adequate. I don't see why it wouldn't be. The other times that I've used it, I would just rinse it off with a power washer and then just dry it, where now kind of be doing, I'd even be like kind of scrubbing it a little bit. It should work just fine. Let's get to it. applying the rust preventative coating, we were stoked. It looked so good. The black really, it self-leveled. It looked like we sprayed it. It was amazing. The rust preventative coating came out so good that we could not wait to get the white on. So we waited the appropriate time that it said on the tech sheet and started applying the white. And the first coat went on really thin. It didn't seem to self-level as well. It was almost runny. It was very thin consistency. And after the first coat, my thoughts were, it just needs a second coat. So we waited again the appropriate time and started applying the second coat. And that's whenever we realized that this isn't gonna work. It was just too thin, it was too watery. It wasn't covering the black well at all. Now keep in mind, these are products made for each other. This top coat is made to go over this rust preventative coating. They're the same brand, following their exact rules and everything. And it just was not working out at all. I knew by applying more coats that I was just gonna make it even worse. After the first coat, the brush strokes were so obvious that applying more coats would have just made it worse, and I was not okay with creating more work for myself later on. So we decided to stop everything we were doing. We were not gonna finish applying the second coat. It was really kind of a sad moment. This was supposed to be a turning point for us. We were gonna start to put the front suspension back on, start bolting things back on the front end after this was done and moving on further down the car. But now this is something that we're gonna have to come back to. I went ahead and decided that I am just going to go ahead and paint the engine bay whenever I jam the rest of the car. That way, knock it out all at once. It will all be the same color. And it won't be that big of a deal. Plan is now to go ahead and bolt on the rest of the front end stuff and go ahead and move on with the rest of the project. And we'll just come back to the engine bay later whenever we're ready to jam the whole car and start getting it ready for paint. This was a really big setback. I don't know what went wrong. I don't know if it was the product, if it was the weather, but it really did set us back quite a bit. This is a finish that I'm just not okay with running. I know a lot of people think it's a drift car, just treat it like a missile, it doesn't matter, but that's just something that I'm not okay with. I want to kind of set a higher bar, a standard for drift cars and how they look and appear and how they're treated. These cars are becoming more rare and values are going up on them, and I would really like to preserve this chassis and keep it as long as possible. Yes, I absolutely know that every time I take it out, there's a possibility that it will get ruined completely. And that's a risk you take racing in any aspect, drag racing, drifting. You take that chance every time you go out on the track. So that doesn't stop people from building amazing race cars that are built to an insane quality. And this is just not up to my standards or the standards that I want to keep for Skeeter racing. So we will come back, we will fix this, sand it all down, make it all smooth, and we will spray it with the rest of the car whenever we go to jam it. Keep in mind, you may not want to go the extra step and add a top coat. If you were just to add the rust preventative coating and leave it, you would be so happy with the results. I mean, it was phenomenal. Just keep that in mind if you're going to use this product, that rust preventative coating is awesome. And this front end now is completely preserved, and in theory, I never have any rust issues. So take this video with a grain of salt. Maybe it was the product, maybe it was me, maybe it's the weather. Who knows? Gonna keep moving forward, keep working on the car. Race season is coming up. And I need to get behind the wheel of this thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you have any suggestions on what the heck happened, please let me know. I don't know everything, so if there's something I missed, you guys saw all the steps I did. I followed the wait times almost down to the T on the tech sheets. And yeah, let me know down in the comments below. Again, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.